This video is sponsored by Adobe, but I want to kind of like share something genuine with you on this. And this video isn't scripted. Yeah, I've got some talking points that I want to cover off with you guys, but this isn't a scripted video. Nobody's telling me what I can and can't say. But yeah, the money's great. Being sponsored by Adobe is amazing. It earns me some money to be able to create content, but for me, it's not just about being paid. It's actually about the community, about being part of a community of ambassadors. And that all started back in 2024 when I was first invited down to London. Now, at the time, I was part of another ambassador program for a different company, and I've spoken about that on the channel. If you scroll back a few videos to that time, you'll see that I did a video on there when I actually switched to becoming an Adobe ambassador. And one of the things that I've enjoyed most is creating that connection with other people in the community. I've been to, as I say, I was first invited down to London. Since then, I've been to Adobe MAX in Miami. I've been to Adobe MAX in London when there was one there back in 2025. I was then invited over to New York to a summit there to connect with some other fellow creators and to speak to the team about the product that we're using. And since then, I've also been to Adobe MAX in LA, and just last week I was invited down to an Adobe Ambassador Summit in London and also an Adobe Creator Live event.
Hello! Take it, goddammit!
I got that on camera.
Please keep that in!
Where 500 creators were invited to an exclusive event down in London. Now, part of the event last week, I was also invited on stage to talk about my creator journey. And if you want to know a little bit more about that and for me to go into more depth in that in the future, let me know down in the comments. I would love to talk to you guys a little bit more about that. But for me, I want to talk to you about like the actual community that we have here as ambassadors. Now, I work from this office here on a daily basis. I'm mostly here in my office in the middle. I live in the middle of nowhere. I'll be honest. I literally live in the middle of nowhere. So there's not other creators that I can easily go and visit or connect with and things like that. But as an online community, we connect with each other on a daily basis, not just sharing our content, but sharing ideas, sharing stories, sharing helpful tips and tricks, and asking questions. If we get stuck on something, we've got a community of people there we can actually reach out to and actually ask for kind of like tips and tricks as well if we're not sure on how to do something. And that's what I really enjoy about being an Adobe ambassador. As I say, I'm an Adobe Express and an Adobe Firefly ambassador, and when we go to these events, one of the things that I enjoy doing is you'll see them on my posters behind me here. I've got all sorts of like photos and memorabilia and badges, pins, stickers, merch that we have exclusively created for some of these events. You can see some of those. I'll put in some B-roll of those. They are absolutely amazing, and they're not just created by some person in a merch store somewhere. They're actually created by people inside of the Adobe Express and Adobe Firefly community that are genuine content creators and have small businesses where they actually create these really unique looking items, not just for Adobe, but they create them as part of their business, if you like. And I just cut out a cough there. I might even leave it in. I don't know. Maybe we'll just leave this as is. But I want to just make sure that I'm covering off the points. As I say, this video isn't scripted. It's just a video about some of the events that I've been to. And I want to say that, it's been amazing because as well as being paid, being part of a community, I get to also speak to the product team and provide genuine feedback. If there's something that's not working or that I would like to see changed, I can actually feed that back to the team at Adobe. And I've even been part of some projects that are under NDA, so obviously I can't talk about those, but they're kind of like projects that are happening before they're released to public beta, if you like. So I get to kind of like speak with the team at Adobe, and that's all because I became an Adobe ambassador. And if you want to, you know, if you are using Adobe Express in your business, or you're using Adobe Firefly to create content, I'll put a link down below to both of those programs for you to have a look at, to apply for, and potentially join. And I look forward to meeting you if you become a fellow ambassador at one of the future events. But yeah, that's all I have to say. If you've got any questions for me about becoming an Adobe Express ambassador or an Adobe Firefly ambassador or anything else like that, then do drop those down in the comments below. But until next time, thank you very much, and bye for now.